Okay, looks like we're back up.
All right, so our first item of business is consideration of the approval of a resolution establishing the Richfield Economic Development Authority and approving certain matters in connection therewith. Executive Director Devich.
Thank you, Chair Supple. And I'm going to pass this over to John Stark to add whatever he needs to add to this.
Thank you. As of now, I won't address anyone as chair of the EDA. So EDA commissioners, welcome to our first EDA meeting, first of all. The genesis of this was in 2016 at the goal setting session and later at the budget presentations. Staff had recommended the consideration of the formation of an economic development authority to the Richfield City Council. Based on that recommendation, the City Council and HRA held joint work sessions on March 20th and April 25th to discuss the topic. At each of those meetings, there was a general consensus that the creation of an EDA would provide both the authority and a funding mechanism through an EDA levy to provide beneficial economic development, business assistance, and housing assistance programming. In particular, an EDA would provide a long-term funding solution to continuing and perhaps enhancing the Kids at Home and Transformation Home Loan programs. As a result of these ongoing discussions and staff recommendations, the City Council did approve a resolution authorizing the creation of EDA at its meeting last week on May 9th. According to that resolution, the composition of the EDA's Board of Commissioners is to reflect that of the HRA. As a result of the City Council's authorization of an EDA, the newly formed EDA must now approve a resolution confirming its establishment. The resolution also includes a request that the City enact a levy of up to $600,000 in 2018, and it also includes the adoption of the EDA bylaws. I would say the levy, the more precise number we're working on is $561,000, but we said up to $600,000 just in case, to give ourselves some wiggle room if things change. I think we will all get a better idea of what the EDA and how it operates at budget time in the summer. That's really where you will decide what it is that the EDA will do. But we had to take these first actions before July 1st in order to make that request for the issuance of a levy, imposition of a levy. So with that, and we do have Julie Eddington of Kennedy and Graven here. She would serve as legal counsel to the ADA, and she drafted the attached resolution and bylaws.
Mr. Devich.
Thank you, Commissioner Supple. Let me just add one thing. That levy, I want people to understand that for an average Richfield home value, the impact of that levy would be something in the range of between 28 and 33 cents per year. Just so they know what the impact of the EDA would be. Thank you.
So I have a procedural question. I see we have a recommended action to approve a resolution establishing the EDA, and then there are bylaws, etc., attached that have some blanks in them. Are we dealing with the bylaws now? And so do we know what has to go in those blanks? It's things like who signs the checks and meeting dates and things like that. Do we need to deal with all that before we approve anything?
Commissioner Supple, yes, we should fill in these blanks based on the decision of the EDA commissioners. The resolution that was adopted approves the enabling resolution that the city adopted last week after a public hearing. It also adopts your bylaws and it provides a formal request to the city for your levy for 2018. So if you wouldn't mind helping to fill out these blanks, we can formalize the bylaws with your recommendations.
All right. Do you want to go through the blanks, or do you want us to find them? Or because I see there's one here highlighted about who signs the checks.
Yeah, it's on page 3.
Right. And I would suggest that that be the treasurer
because
or the president.
Okay, so it says all orders and checks of the authority for payment of money as directed by the board shall be signed by the blank and the treasurer. So you're saying the president is who you're recommending?
That's correct.
Or the chair? Would it be the?
Pardon me?
Would that be the chair of the?
Looks like we
They're
have.
calling the
Calling
president
it a
here.
president, yeah.
Are there objections to that? So I guess without objection, it would be the president and the treasurer that would sign. Is that,
I think for now, we can do that. We're going to go back and take a look at who signs the HRA checks. I don't foresee any checks since there is no budget until January.
okay, so we have time to figure this
So
out.
we have time to figure this out. So I think some of these we can just put placeholder answers in them and come back with a revised bylaws later.
All right, there are also some blanks on page 8 under Article 5 meetings.
Commissioner Supple, I assume that since it will be the same body as the HRA, that you would want this body to meet on that same date for convenience purposes? So we can pick a time on the Tuesday that the HRA meets.
Monday.
Oh, I'm
Well,
sorry,
in January,
Monday.
it would actually be Tuesday for the annual meeting because of the holiday. So that would be different than the regular meetings, which are Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Devich, did you have something to suggest?
No, but I was just going to say, yes, I mean, every year, you're exactly right. On January and February, the Mondays are always going to hit holidays, so they always get moved over to another date. And those are always determined by the Housing Redevelopment Authority somewhere along.
Yeah, I think I have a solution. So for annual meeting, I think you could just say the annual meeting of the authority shall be held at the regular January meeting. Leave it at that. And then the next one, section 2, regular meetings, addresses that with the second couple of lines where it says, unless the same shall be a legal holiday, in which event said meeting shall be held on the next succeeding day.
Are there any objections to that?
So, if I can ask, so then it would be on the third
Tuesday.
Monday of each month, and then it goes on to say unless it's a holiday.
Right.
Yeah, right now.
All right, are there any other matters or blanks that we need to discuss?
A
The
question.
time of the meeting, should we say 7:30?
Well, I think the way I think 7:30, the way we've described it is 7:30 or immediately following the adjournment of the HRA.
All right, Commissioner Sandal, you had a question.
That was kind of my point. It just, I mean, today we said 7:15, and we didn't meet till almost 8. I don't think we've ever had an HRA meeting that met in 15 minutes that I recall.
Very rarely. I think we did 20 minutes once.
Okay.
But I think usually it's longer.
I suppose you could just say following the regular HRA meeting.
Yeah, there's some reason that it made
Okay, or 7.
it tends to have a
yeah.
specific time. So I think we could say either 7:30 or 7:45
7:45.
Or-
Yeah.
following the adjournment of the HRA.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I would also add that if you may need to have an EDA meeting, but not an HRA meeting in one night. And I would add then to this paragraph, if there is no HRA, it would start at 7 p.m. that night.
That makes sense to me.
All right. So, are there any other questions? And do we have a motion on the floor, actually?
No,
All right, so would someone like to make a motion?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve a resolution establishing the Richfield Economic Development Authority and approving certain matters in connection therewith. Any further discussion?
Thanks, Chair.
Commissioner Howard?
We discussed this at our last council meeting. I just wanted to say again, this is it's our first meeting. It's a really important positive step. I want to thank staff that worked on this over a number of years and our previous council that discussed this and moved this forward. And I want to thank the HRA and the council for the work session and discussion that prompted this action. And what it will mean, I really believe, is more resources and more flexibility and tools to come to bear to make Richfield a more welcoming place for all comers. And it's a positive step forward, and just wanted to make that known.
All right, any other comments? All right, we have a motion before us. All in favor of approving a resolution establishing the Richfield Economic Development Authority and approving certain matters in connection therewith, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right, we've established the authorities. So next, we have to consider election of the officers for the EDA. Now, I'm noticing here it says president, so can you tell us exactly which officers we're electing?
Commissioner Supple, the EDA Act requires that the officers are named president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, and assistant treasurer. The last two, secretary and assistant treasurer, need not be a commissioner, so it could be somebody at the staff level to do that for you. But the president would be similar to the HRA chair, and then vice president and treasurer need to be elected, and the other members are called just commissioners.
All right, so it looks like we need to open nominations for president. Are there any nominations for president of the EDA?
I would like to nominate Mary Supple.
Second.
Are there any other nominations?
I move to close the nomination.
All right, so we have a motion to close nominations. Is there any discussion of that? All right. Without objection, we'll close nominations. All in favor of electing Mary Supple as president, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Is there a nomination for vice president?
I would nominate Commissioner Sue Sandow.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? I think we have to ask 3 times. Are there any other nominations? All right, nominations are now closed. All in favor of electing Commissioner Sandal as Vice President of the EDA, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, thank you. Treasurer, are there any nominations for treasurer?
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Is there a treasurer in the HRA that's a commissioner?
No.
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. And what duties would this treasurer have to do other than sign checks?
Commissioner Sandal, I believe it's a figurehead post, so
Right.
they won't actually be in charge of the money.
All right. Well, it's going to go great on some literature. For somebody. Kidding.
All right,
That
well,
wasn't
I'll nominate Commissioner Howard to be the treasurer.
Gonna go for my mouth.
I spoke too soon.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, all in favor of electing Commissioner Howard as treasurer, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Now it says secretary need not be an EDA commissioner. Do we have any recommendations before we begin this process?
Well, just a couple of thoughts. It could be Elizabeth Van Hoos, who's the city clerk. That's a possibility. And I'm just thinking, who would, who's going to typically be taking minutes? It would,
Well, I mean, if we,
but it doesn't really matter. I mean, whoever the secretary is just simply has to be the signatory on it. And it might be just be that that the secretary could be someone like the city clerk, Elizabeth Van Hoos, or Jared Vodo, my assistant, and then the assistant secretary. Isn't that true?
Assistant treasurer.
Assistant treasurer. Oh,
That's fine.
And
That's
that could be
There
Chris
you go.
Regis,
That
the
would make
assistant
sense.
treasurer.
I mean, it's my assistant, so I feel like I should.
Would you like to nominate someone? Mr. Howard, do you want to nominate someone?
I would lean towards staff's recommendation, so yeah.
I would certainly nominate Chris Regis for the assistant treasurer. He seems like the logical candidate.
I'm just going to bring this up every time I see Chris.
Are there any other nominations for assistant treasurer? Any other nominations for assistant treasurer? Any other nominations for assistant treasurer? All right, then we'll close nominations. All in favor of having Chris Regis be, I said that right? Is that the name? Be the assistant treasurer, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we still need to deal with the matter of the secretary. Would someone like to nominate someone here?
Who does the minutes for the HRA?
Yeah, it's fine.
Who writes the minutes for the HRA?
Yep.
Kate Aitchison.
Yeah, there's another name.
Okay.
All right, would someone like to make a nomination?
I nominate Kate Aitchison.
All right, are there any other nominations for secretary? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations for secretary? All right, then we're hearing none, we'll close nominations. All in favor of having Kate Aitchison be the secretary, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, welcome, Madam Secretary.
Big raise, Kate.
I was going to say, is there a raise that goes with
Look
it?
great on her
Yeah.
resume, I'm telling you.
So-
That's
Do we have any other matters before us?
not to my knowledge.
All right,
And
thank you all.
I would
And
be, I wouldn't necessarily expect a meeting next month. I don't know that we will have any agenda items for you.
all right. Well, thank you all, and I echo what Commissioner Howard said, that I think this is a good move for the city. All right, we stand adjourned.